Have you ever looked at a historical timeline and felt like a piece of the puzzle was missing? Like the official story, the one taught in schools and museums, is too neat, too perfectly linear to be true. What if I told you that in nearly every field of study, paleontology, archaeology, and even climatology, there are discoveries, undeniable pieces of evidence that fundamentally break the known timeline of human civilization and the history of our planet? These are the truths that are routinely ignored, minimized, or outright suppressed because they simply do not fit the established academic narrative. Get ready, because we are about to pull back the curtain on 10 of the most explosive, suppressed discoveries in world history. The Manuscript Body 1, the Paluxy River Investigation. Our journey begins in Texas, along the Paluxy River, where in 1938, curious discovery was made by Dr. Roland Byrd of the American Museum of Natural History. He was there to study dinosaur tracks specifically, those of the acrocanthosaurs firmly dated to the Cretaceous period, about 100 million years ago. What he found alongside these prints shocked him and defied every principle of paleontology. Preserved within the same Cretaceous limestone layers as the giant three-toed dinosaur tracks were unmistakably human footprints, and not just faint impressions, but anatomically correct human foot structures showing clear toe impressions, natural arches, and heel strikes perfectly consistent with human locomotion. These prints were huge, ranging from 12 to 21 inches long, suggesting individuals of extraordinary height walked alongside the massive reptiles. More startlingly, a sequential trackway of these human prints showed patterns of running gaits and directional changes, indicating conscious movement. Most compellingly, several human tracks were found inside the larger dinosaur prints, implying that the human had deliberately stepped into the already formed dinosaur track, confirming their simultaneous presence. Dr. Byrd, a reputable scientist, documented over 100 of these distinct human footprints. When he presented his evidence to the American Museum of Natural History, the response was not curiosity, but immediate rejection. The official position became that human prints coexisting with dinosaurs were simply impossible, regardless of the physical evidence. The artifacts Dr. Byrd collected, including plaster casts of the mixed trackways, were relegated to restricted museum collections, lost to the public and scientific scrutiny. Any scientist who dared to support the authenticity of these findings faced career destruction and professional ostracism. Even today, the site is legally protected, but scientific investigation focusing on the human tracks is systematically avoided by mainstream institutions, ensuring the evidence remains buried under layers of academic dogma. 2. The Mediterranean Mapping Project. Next, we dive deep into the Mediterranean Sea, where from 1955 to 1968, Columbia University's Marine Geology program conducted extensive sonar mapping of the sea floor. Led by Dr. Bruce Hesson, the team's geological research unexpectedly detected massive, submerged artificial architectural structures. These weren't natural rock formations. The sonar readings revealed vast geometric patterns, perfectly straight lines extending for miles, and clear right angles, features that geology simply cannot produce on this scale. The structures covered thousands of square miles across multiple Mediterranean basins, lying at depths that proved they were built during the last ice age, when sea levels were approximately 400 feet lower. This discovery suggested the existence of incredibly advanced civilizations rivaling the urban development of ancient Rome existing more than 12,000 years ago. Long before the supposed dawn of agriculture and urban development, detailed analysis showed sophisticated urban planning with central plazas, radiating streets, defensive walls, and what appeared to be man-made harbors, complete with breakwaters. High-resolution sonar identified individual buildings, including structures that looked like temples and palaces. When Heezen's team attempted to publish their findings, they faced immediate pressure from archaeological institutions. The idea of advanced, large-scale pre-Ice Age cities was too much of a challenge to the accepted historical timeline. The National Science Foundation, which funded the Geological Survey, terminated support for further investigation and classified the sonar data as a maritime anomaly. Independent archaeologists who attempted to launch sunken civilization expeditions were denied permits and access to equipment, ensuring this shocking revelation about the ancient origins of humanity remained a suppressed secret. This proves the true ancient origins of humanity. Proof of lost civilizations is a topic that some forces actively try to keep hidden. 3. The Antarctic Core Crisis. Now we travel to the bottom of the world. In the 1980s, an international Antarctic research expedition, with a Soviet-led component focusing on climate reconstruction, drilled deep ice cores. The goal was to analyze layers representing hundreds of thousands of years of Antarctic ice accumulation, at depths corresponding to approximately 400,000 years ago. The team, led by Dr. Alina Petrov, discovered perfectly preserved tropical plant fossils including palm fronds, fern specimens, and flowering plants, all requiring warm, humid conditions to grow. Radiocarbon dating verified the fossil's age matched the ice layer chronology, which was supposed to be a major glacial period when global temperatures were much colder than today. The presence of complete ecosystems, including tropical insects, marine life, and microorganisms, in Antarctica 400,000 years ago, fundamentally contradicted the accepted models of Earth's climate history, suggesting that global climate patterns, continental positions, or atmospheric conditions operated according to unknown principles that could dramatically alter polar climates. When Dr. Petrov attempted to present her research, pressure from international climate organizations forced the Soviet Academy of Sciences to classify the findings. Fossil data was systematically omitted from public reports and conference presentations. NASA climate researchers who had collaborated on the project were ordered to excise the data from their records. The drilling site was declared an environmental protection zone, preventing any further research or independent verification of the impossible climatic evidence. This suppression was necessary to maintain the rigid, established scientific narrative of gradual, predictable climate change, protecting the theoretical framework of Ice Age chronology from inconvenient facts. 4. The Pacific migration paradox in the late 1960s and early 1970s. The intrepid explorer Thor Heyerdahl conducted his famous RA expeditions, successfully crossing the Atlantic in ancient-style reed boats. While his goal was to prove transoceanic travel was possible for ancient Egyptians, his more significant and largely suppressed discovery was biological. During the voyages, his team collected barnacle specimens from the hull of their boat. Analysis of these specimens revealed a mix of marine species native to both the African and American sides of the Atlantic. The presence of these specific species combinations on the boat proved systematic, regular transoceanic transport of marine life, establishing a true ancient origins route across the ocean that predated Christopher Columbus by thousands of years. Heyerdahl's research suggested that prehistoric peoples possessed transoceanic navigational capabilities, far exceeding accepted historical timelines. Further archaeological investigation on remote islands documented artificial markers and navigational aid stone monuments aligned with stellar positions and artificial harbors that demonstrated a sophisticated understanding of ocean navigation and global positioning that official history claims was not developed until the modern era. This evidence of ancient global trade networks and cultural exchange systems operating on a scale exceeding even modern international commerce was dismissed as overinterpretation of natural formations. The academic community refused to support expeditions that might confirm pre-Columbian global connectivity, effectively enforcing an isolationist narrative. Access to the ancient navigational sites was restricted through international maritime protection treaties, preventing scientific verification and sealing away evidence that challenged the core belief in the primitive technological capabilities of ancient societies. 5. The Sahara archaeology shock. Moving now to the Sahara Desert, one of the most inhospitable environments on Earth. A joint Franco-Algerian expedition in the late 1970s and early 1980s what they found beneath the shifting sand dunes shattered the accepted timeline for African civilization. Using ground-penetrating radar, Lote's team detected massive, artificial structures, extensive urban ruins buried under centuries of sand accumulation. Radiocarbon testing on organic material found within the ruins consistently dated the cities back to 8000 BCE, placing a sophisticated civilization in North Africa when the region was still a lush green Sahara, thousands of years before the supposed beginning of Egyptian civilization. The excavated stone buildings revealed architectural sophistication with earthquake-resistant construction, climate-controlled interiors using passive cooling, and modular designs for urban expansion. Even more impressive were the public spaces, sewage systems channeling waste, and a large population suggesting sophisticated social organization. Agricultural evidence showed advanced irrigation systems that could support large populations in challenging conditions, including complex underground water management systems and advanced farming techniques. The engineering required to build and sustain such large cities in the region required advanced mathematical knowledge and construction experience, challenging the colonial narratives of a primitive African past. When Lote's team attempted to publish their groundbreaking findings, the Saharan discovery sites were classified, and access was restricted to prevent international investigation that might prove the true ancient origins of humanity were not in Egypt but further south, challenging established theories and historical models. Independent archaeological investigation was blocked, ensuring the lost cities of the Green Sahara remained hidden. 6. The Bering Land Bridge revision. Our next journey takes us to the Arctic, where the prevailing theory for the peopling of the Americas is the Clovis First model. Humans crossed the Bering Land Bridge about 15,000 years ago. However, the 1973 International Arctic Research Expedition discovered artifacts that threw this theory into chaos. Led by Dr. James Mitchell, the multinational team, originally investigating climate change evidence in Arctic permafrost, uncovered a vast collection of sophisticated tools, weapons, and artistic objects embedded in geological layers dated to 45,000 years before present. This dating, confirmed by multiple radiocarbon methods, placed human habitation in North America 30,000 years earlier than the accepted timeline, long before the Bering Strait was even a viable land bridge. The artifacts themselves demonstrated advanced manufacturing techniques, precision flint knapping for standardized tool types, composite tool construction using multiple materials, and highly artistic decorative work. Analysis of associated bone tools revealed complex hunting techniques requiring a sophisticated understanding of Arctic wildlife behavior. This evidence suggested that early humans in the Arctic possessed advanced cold weather, adaptation capabilities, and marine technology, including navigation instruments and boat-building materials, that would have allowed for long-distance ocean travel, challenging the assumption of a land bridge-lee migration. The National Science Foundation, facing pressure from the anthropological establishment committed to the Clovis First model, terminated funding for further Arctic archaeological research. Mitchell's artifacts were classified and removed from scientific access, stored away in restricted warehouses. Universities refused to support research that might validate a pre-Clovis human presence in the Americas. Maintaining a simplified and, according to the evidence, 7. The underground London survey back to Europe, under one of its oldest major cities, London. During the construction of the Jubilee Line extension in 1987, engineering surveys uncovered an astonishing subterranean network deep beneath the Roman-era foundations, in layers that predated the Roman invasion by thousands of years. Engineers discovered extensive tunnel systems and vast underground structures. The structures revealed precise, machine-like construction, perfectly circular cross-sections in the tunnels, sophisticated ventilation systems that maintained air circulation, and water management infrastructure including aqueducts and flood control mechanisms. The engineering analysis confirmed that the construction required mathematical and structural knowledge far exceeding the capabilities attributed to pre-Roman British populations or even early Roman engineering. The construction precision of the tunnels matched modern tunneling standards. This evidence of advanced urban engineering existing in pre-Roman Britain challenged the established historical narrative of Roman technological superiority in the region. When Dr. Margaret Foster, leading the archaeological component, attempted to publish the ground-penetrating radar data and initial findings, the British archaeological community and London Transport Authority intervened. The underground discoveries were classified under heritage protection laws, and the construction project was modified to avoid disturbing the pre-existing structures, effectively sealing the evidence. Access for independent research was prohibited, maintaining the historical narrative that major urban development and advanced engineering only arrived with the Roman conquest, a theory that clearly does not stand up to the physical evidence. 8. The Amazon civilization mapping. Next, we turn our attention to the Amazon rainforest, a region long considered a pristine wilderness incapable of supporting large-scale pre-Columbian civilizations due to poor soil quality. However, a 1999 Brazilian rainforest survey utilized cutting-edge satellite imaging and ground-penetrating radar to see beneath the dense canopy. The remote sensing data revealed a vast network of extensive urban complexes and agricultural earthworks across the Amazon basin. These geometric patterns, covering thousands of square miles, could only be the result of deliberate, sophisticated human landscape modification. Ground investigation confirmed the existence of major urban centers connected by road networks. Massive agricultural terraces carved into hillsides and complex water management systems. Population estimates, based on the scale of the urban areas and agricultural capacity, suggested the Amazonian civilizations had supported populations in the millions for thousands of years. Prior to European contact, their sustainable agricultural techniques, including raised field agriculture, forest gardening, and aquaculture, enhanced rather than damaged the rainforest ecosystem, a feat modern agricultural science struggles to replicate. The sophisticated farming and resource management techniques of these lost civilizations of the Amazon far exceeded the capabilities attributed to primitive indigenous tribes. When Dr. Anna Clark's international team attempted to publish the data, environmental organizations and conservation groups pressured the Brazilian government to classify the findings. The evidence, which proved that large human populations could coexist sustainably with the rainforest, contradicted the narrative that the Amazon must be an untamed and untouched wilderness to justify conservation policies and prevent exploitation. The evidence of advanced, sustainable, ancient origins was thus suppressed to protect a modern environmental policy narrative. 9. The North Sea revelation. Our penultimate journey takes us beneath the waves of the North Sea, an area today dominated by offshore oil drilling platforms. In the 1980s, these drilling operations consistently encountered archaeological anomalies, artificial structures, worked stone, and human artifacts sat depths corresponding to a period when the area was dry land, known as Doggerland, during the last ice age. Dr. Robert Hansen, a geologist, analyzed core samples from the oil drilling platforms that consistently contained evidence of human habitation dating from 12,000 to 15,000 years ago, placing advanced civilization in northern Europe during the Ice Age. The artifacts included evidence of advanced metallurgy, precision toolmaking, and decorative artistry that exceeded the primitive capabilities attributed to Ice Age European populations by mainstream archaeology. Most remarkably, the artifacts included complex mechanical and navigation instruments, as well as boat-building materials, suggesting a sophisticated maritime culture. The North Sea, a region thought to be merely an Ice Age Europe of primitive hunter-gatherers, was actually the site of a complex, technologically advanced culture before the area was submerged by the post-glacial flood. Hansen's attempts to present his findings were met with immediate resistance. Oil companies, concerned that archaeological discoveries could complicate drilling operations and delay profitable extraction projects through heritage protection requirements, successfully pressured European archaeological authorities. The North Sea artifact discoveries were classified, and any independent investigation was prohibited, maintaining a historical timeline that protects the economic interests of modern industries. 10. The Australian dating crisis. Finally, we head to Australia to confront the dating of its earliest inhabitants. Conventional radiocarbon dating has long suggested that Aboriginal populations arrived around 40,000 to 50,000 years ago. But a series of thermoluminescence dating tests in the late 1980s, led by Dr. Rhys Jones's team, shattered this timeline. Thermoluminescence dating of artifacts and rock shelters consistently produce dates of 60,000 to 80,000 years, ago, tens of thousands of years older than the established chronology. This proved that Aboriginal populations had existed in Australia for a much longer period than accepted migration theories allowed, and that they had developed sophisticated tool technologies, complex art traditions, and advanced environmental management systems, including extensive water and land management practices decades earlier than any other known civilization. The extended timeline indicated that Aboriginal cultural and technological development was much more advanced than mainstream anthropology acknowledges, challenging narratives that supported colonialist theories of primitive development. The international anthropological community and the Australian government immediately suppressed the thermoluminescence results. Research that might validate this extended timeline and advanced Aboriginal cultural development was discouraged, and archaeological sites that produced older dates were declared restricted areas, complicating indigenous land rights and cultural heritage claims. The evidence was buried under bureaucratic red tape and ideological pressure, preserving the conventional, shorter timeline for human presence in Australia. These 10 discoveries, from human footprints alongside dinosaurs to lost cities beneath the sands and advanced technology beneath the sea, share a common, disturbing pattern. In each case, irrefutable, independently verifiable scientific evidence was either classified, suppressed, or outright destroyed because it fundamentally challenged the entrenched, accepted, historical, or scientific narrative. The collective implication is inescapable. Human history is far more complex, ancient, and technologically advanced than the official timeline allows us to believe. The gatekeepers of academia, government agencies, and industry have consistently prioritized maintaining an artificial coherence, a clean, linear story of human progression over the pursuit of scientific truth. It raises a chilling question: how much of what we accept as fact is simply a carefully managed fiction? Please consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel.